you doing, Darren? Thanks very much for speaking to me. How you doing?
No problem, mate. I'm good. How's you?
No, great, man. I've just been, congratulations on the album. I've just been listening to the album repeat all morning. It's fantastic. I love it, man. Brilliant.
Ah, cheers, my man. I'm buzzing to get it out. It's going to be
No,
class.
yeah, I bet you can't wait because I mean, you've got singles there, you've got tracks there from kind of like a few years ago, and then you've got brand new stuff to get out there. No,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
quite curious. What was kind of the criteria that you used to decide which tracks to put on this album? Because correct me if I'm wrong, but I was looking at I think there was an original playlist was different tracks, and then it's changed a little bit over time. Is that
Yeah.
right?
So I was talking about this in an interview earlier, but like we go back the name Shambolics. It's a total shambles sometimes, and like
Yeah.
we went into that to recording the album with barely any songs and stuff. There was some old songs that were there, but there was some that were like half done and stuff. So quite a fair bit of the album was written on the go in the studio.
Right. Yeah, because I was
You know
reading
what I
that
mean?
I mean, like the song that you sing with Kyle Falconer, for example. I think you wrote that in, is that in La Sierra? Is that right? You wrote that
Yeah,
in
yeah.
kind of
We
like a
wrote that in
workshop or something like
Spain.
that.
Yeah, so Kyle's got a writing camp and he's got a little villa in Spain called La Sierra Casa. It's an amazing place. It's great. And we were in the first camp with him, went and wrote that tune with him. It just came out total natural. It was great. So that was a good experience. That was a
Right.
tune that we came in prepared with.
But you
Yeah,
were prepared with that one. That wasn't in the studio. That was kind of this workshop that you were with Kyle. No, right?
yeah, but we're prepared with that one, yeah.
Uh-huh. So I mean, how much of the album would you say was kind of on the fly that you kind of came up with? Because you said you were a bit of a shambles going into the studio and you didn't have all of the album prepared now.
Um
So how much did you have kind of written down on paper or whatever, and how much did you kind of come up with later on?
probably well probably about we maybe had 50% of it done. Like 50% of the songs finished, which were like finished songs from a few years ago or ones that were written like a couple of months before going in. 25% of it was probably half finished songs that we kind of finished as we went. And 25% of it is brand new tunes that we just came up with in the studio, I'd say. A good example of a brand new one is Never Be Mine, the first
Right.
single that we done. That was like the second, near the end of the recording. And every night me and Lewis were going in, we're recording, doing our stuff, and then we're coming back home and trying to write a tune. Just kept focusing on trying to write a tune because obviously we only had 2 weeks in the studio or whatever it was. And we just came back one night and wrote that, and we're like, fucking hell. I sent it to our producer, just a voice recording, and he was like, oh, that's great, let's do it tomorrow. And we just went and done
Right.
it. So that's pretty much like the demo version, to be honest. And it's my favourite song on the record, probably.
Uh-huh. So I mean, did you said that it was almost like a demo? Do you like kind of your tracks to be as raw as possible, as kind of sound as much as like the live experience as you can when you record them,
Um,
or is that just kind of
yes
happenstance that
and
you
no.
happen to?
I think having like a good live backbone, like the drums and bass and everything, the whole overall performance sounding good live. But I also like quite well produced sort of stuff. One of my favorite produced records is Stone Roses' first album,
Right.
and some of the production things on that's mad, like backwards guitars and swells and stuff like that, reverb swells, and I love all that stuff as well. So I like a bit of both. I like it to sound live, but have a wee bit magic sprinkled on top.
Right. And the fact that you didn't have a lot of all of the album tracks down before you went into the studio, was that kind of how do you gauge how well those are going to go down because you've not been able to play them live or anything like that? You just kind of you've been able to play them to yourself and then to send like a WhatsApp audio recording to your producer or whatever. How do you kind of gauge how that's going to fare with your fans, for example? Or is that something you try not to think too much about?
We didn't try and think too much about it. Like we just announced a tune. We just announced a tune today. Like literally before I came on this call, I just posted a video of it. It's coming out on Friday called Universal Credit, and that's like a total piss take song. To be honest, I can't even believe it's just a funny song that we can make a funny video to. Do you know what I mean? But we wrote that as like a piss take sort of bonus track, and the label thought, oh, we can make a
Right.
great video to it, so let's release it. But that will probably never play that live. Whereas other tunes you kind of just know what ones will go down well live. Do you know what I mean? Like Never Be
Uh,
Mine, for example. We knew that that would go down really well. People would sing the riff and stuff.
but I mean, talking that, I think that that track that you mentioned, I don't want to give too much away because it's not one that you've released yet, but that would be a good song to play live, I think, because kind of like there's a lot of quotes that you could take from that, and the fans would probably sing
We could
along,
try
actually.
it. Definitely, we could try it. Let's see how it goes down. Once it's released, we'll be able to kind of figure out how it goes down. But like for example, there's a couple tunes on the album, like we open up with a tune called Influencer, and we've kind of been playing that live because it's just a good sort of ballsy tune, and we just know when a tune's going to go down well live. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, talking of the last song that's kind of like an extra track and then influencer. Yeah, I felt like some of the songs really kind of wanted to get stuff off your chest. Kind of, you had a chip on your shoulder about a certain kind of people.
Yeah,
Is that
yeah.
something that was very kind of under an underlying theme in the album?
Well, kind of like it's just coming naturally when we're writing it. We're not really thinking. That's a good thing about us, even though it's been a slow, sluggish grind for us to get there. We just don't give a fuck about like record labels and what they're trying to tell us to act like and stuff. Like we just write what the fuck we want, and I think that's why people are connecting to it. But I think that's why people were like what you just say is there. You felt like you're getting something off your chest. Maybe we were. Do you know what I mean? Maybe we were
Yeah.
just angry men because it's just about life growing up skint in Scotland. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I imagine that's kind of why is that the reasoning behind the train spotting inspired clip that you did to kind of promote the album?
Uh, well, it's just an iconic film, and it's
Yeah.
like total youth culture sort of film. And like the cool thing about that is we're from Fife, which is just across from Edinburgh. It's very close to Edinburgh, so we just thought, fuck it, let's just rip it off one day. But we knew like Begbie from Trainspotting,
He's a fan
Robert
of yours, no?
Carlyle.
Yeah, Robert Carlyle. Yeah.
Yeah, he's always supported us and shared their music and stuff. And Alan McGee, we still work with him on the management and stuff. He's mates with Irvin Welsh and stuff. So we knew that, and we've met Irvin a few times, but we knew that it wouldn't really upset anybody, you know what I mean? And we knew that people would actually like it.
Uh-huh.
So we thought, again, we're just like, there's not too much thought process behind some of these things. Like when I do interviews, people ask, we're one of the bands that just say, oh, fuck it, you want to do this? And we didn't really think too much about it and just go and do it and have a laugh.
Yeah. But what about the actual music making process itself? Because I was watching a few interviews that you've done before, and like there was the influences that you talk about, the inspiration is kind of like as far ranged as right from the Beatles through to ABBA to all kinds of different inspiration. No, how does that fare when you're trying to write songs as a group? Is there any kind of ruffle between you? Any kind of rumbles between you because of the kind of different
Um, Not
inspirations
really.
there?
It's mainly me and Lewis that write the tunes, and obviously our core influences are like the Beatles, Oasis, and
Yeah,
Stone Roses. We'll always love these sort of bands, you know what I mean? And we always go back to listen to them. But then when we listen to something a bit more eclectic, like Lewis will like whatever I'm listening to, even if he's never heard it, and I usually like what he's listening to, even if I've never heard it. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah.
we're kind of on the same wavelength with a lot of stuff. So it's usually absolutely fine, to be honest.
Uh-huh. And as I mean, you said that it's mainly you two that write, but once you've kind of got that down, how do the other members of the band kind of add to that?
But they just like they they just complete it. Do you know what I mean? They just add the finishing touches to the job. Do you know what I mean? And
Hmm.
give it a good finish. But usually we've kind of got when me and Lewis have been doing it, we've kind of got roughly what we want in our head for the drums and bass and stuff. So it's usually just comes out how we want it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Uh-huh. And you mentioned there also that obviously you've been you got the attention of Creation Records label co-founder now, Alan McGee. How has that helped you? Kind of, would you say that getting into his good works? Because I think in an interview you said that kind of at first he wasn't really interested in signing a band like you until he saw
Yeah.
you live. No, how once he saw you live, how did that kind of help? Was that kind of one of the defining moments when you actually kind of he saw you live, and that was when he started to kind of put you on the map, or would you say it was
Yeah,
something
yeah.
earlier than that?
Um, so the thing when McGee was signed to his label, and then COVID happened, and then he folded his label. Long story short, but
Yeah,
we got one single. No, we got two or three singles out, I think. But one of them was the one that really mattered, and it like we got in the vinyl charts and everything like that, and went like that single done really well for us.
yeah,
And
just
it's
pipped at the
called
post by
Chasing a
Was that the
Disaster.
Aha one that just pipped you at the post now? The
Yeah,
Aha
yeah, the one
re-release. No, yeah.
aha bet us to bastards that they are, and um. Aye, so I was like a stepping stone sort of label, and like I'm still we never really had too much contact with McGee after he folded his label, because I think COVID just fucked it for everybody. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? It set it back because he only just started that label and then COVID hit him. So it
yeah,
just kind of, and I don't think he's got. I mean, he's even admitted to me he's not really got the drive to break a new young band nowadays. He's
yeah.
already done that a lot of
A
times with
lot of
really
times, yeah,
fucking big bands in the past. You know what I mean? But having him there, like he helped negotiate a new record deal, and he's there for advice, and he opens doors as well for us. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
I'm still good mates with him. I still text him all the time, and we're still on creation management. It's mainly Jamie Kelly who's been our long-term manager that is
yeah,
managing us, but we're still under the Alan McGee
yeah.
umbrella. Do you
Because
know what I
because I
mean?
think
So he's a
he was
good guy.
pivotal in you signing to for the album, no, the deal for the album, no.
I wouldn't say pivotal, but
Oh,
he helped up, he gave us advice. Do you know what I mean? He gave us
right.
advice on it.
Uh-huh.
So it's all
What
we
what
needed.
what kind of advice? I'm interested what kind of advice he would give you coming from someone who's been in the business so long.
I mean, it wasn't really to us personally. It was to the man. It's advice that I don't even know, to be honest. So it
Right.
was advice to our manager, because he's on creation management. He works with McGee, so it was advice on him and how to negotiate a record deal and stuff. I know that he was there helping me, but that's the background shit that I don't care about, that he was
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that he was
Yeah.
helping with. Do you know what I mean?
And how was the actual the record company Scruff of the Net Records when then I mean that you signed for a record deal with them? How were they knowing that you'd only got kind of like 50% of the album down?
Because we lied to them and told them I had a lot more. we tell we tell them I had a lot more, but they didn't know that. Now we sent, like, I think they were just, when Mark, he's called Mark, runs Scruff of the Neck. I think with Mark and stuff, he just seen us live, similar to the McGee thing, but by this point it was like we were twice as bigger than we were because we were only playing 100 caps when McGee signed us,
Yeah.
and we're a lot bigger and probably better in sound as well. So he was just interested in that, and he just trusted it. Do you know what I mean? He just trusted the process, and he just went, "Let's go for it." Do you know what I mean? So we maybe exaggerated how much songs we had and stuff, but aye, it worked out fine in the end. They're really happy with the album. They really like it.
No,
So,
it should be. It's a fantastic album. There's not honestly there's not one duff track in it. It's fantastic for me.
oh,
I
thank you
mean,
very much,
most
man.
albums I usually kind of there's two or three that you tend to skip over, and they're not so. But it's just
Yeah.
yeah, it's a great listen from start to finish. Was it easy to choose the I mean, you mentioned there kind of the certain tracks that you thought maybe wouldn't play live. Was it easy to decide kind of the track order? Because like I said, there is kind of thematically there is quite a thing going on there, kind of with the chip on your shoulder type of feel. Type of feel.
Um, no, not too much, to be honest. I think us and manager just kind of bounced some ideas. Like, I think it should start with this tune, and side A should end with this and stuff, and
Mhm.
try to keep like try to keep it consistent, where it's not just the high energy tunes and then on one side, then softer tunes
Drop
on the
down to
other
the
side. We
softer
kind
ones,
of
yeah.
tried to scramble it up a bit. So I wasn't really much fun. It's the thing with the Shams, like I says, but in an interview before, we're called Shambolics for a reason. It's just we didn't really give a shit about anything like that, and it ends up comes back to bite us, to be honest, at times. But aye, we just put it together and chucked it out there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, but yeah, I mean, you say that's a shambles, but I mean, that's like I said, it's perfect. Just kind of the way it plays through is perfect to listen to it. I've had it like three or four times on repeat this morning. Um, what about when it comes to now promoting the album? Because obviously, I know you're not really bothered about being famous. You just want to get those songs out there now, but obviously you want to promote it as best you can now. And that's something that's really difficult at the moment. So how are you kind of approaching that without kind of, I mean, going with the kind of these ideas, especially that are in the last song that you kind of
Um,
talk about getting into a band and releasing stuff and all
aye,
that.
aye. I think so. Our label boss Mark kept going on about, like, play the Scottish card and, like, do some funny promotion and stuff. So we came up with the Trainspotting idea and stuff. And we've never been one for music videos as well, but we've been working with a guy called Boone who's kind of been directing. He works with Scruff of the Neck, and he's been directing most of our videos and doing an amazing job on it. So he's actually made making music videos enjoyable for us again, because we used to hate
Right.
doing it. So we've kind of been enjoying that side of it now. So I think it's just coming naturally. And like I said, we started to just, I know that the music industry doesn't like us. And I know that like, we're not the type of band for the music industry to promote. And I know that like, I just didn't give a shit. You know what I mean? I'm just like, we're doing it anyway. And
Yeah.
fuck the lot of you. So we're just doing it and having a laugh. Do you know what I mean? We're doing it, everything we're doing it our own way. Like that Trainspotting video, if that was for a corporate major label, they would have hated that because they would have been scared the copyright. There's too much swearing in it. But that's, I think, why people liked it is because it's us. Like we are, everything that I say is in that speech is just ripping the piss out ourselves. Like when I'm like smoked enough weed till your lung fell off, like I actually had a collapsed lung because of that. And then the other thing, the thing after that, like being in a box room in your mum's, that was about Lewis in the band when he got chucked out of his bird's house and stuff, and bump starting your shitey old motor and everything. I am literally jump starting my car every time I leave the house. It's exactly us. So I think people just relate to that, and
Yeah,
it's
no,
natural,
I
you know
think
what I
it's
mean?
kind of, it's something that you can appreciate, that a band actually kind of tells it like it is, and not like you said in the influencers song, that you can kind of, you can see through that filter, but you kind of, you have no filter, which is kind of which kind of I enjoy about your band.
Oh, cheers, man. Thank you. But it's
Uh-huh.
true. It's absolutely true.
Uh-huh. Well, so just to finish off then, obviously you've got the album coming out. So I know you've got like 3 or 4 in-store dates that you're going to be doing, and you just this morning announced a couple of dates in what was it, in
Glasgow and Edinburgh.
Glasgow and Edinburgh, no? I mean, apart from that, will there be any dates further afield that you be coming down to England or anywhere further afield?
We'll definitely be coming down to England in about April. We've got loads of stuff in the pipeline, but it's to be, the English ones are going to be announced soon. But we can't really say too much about like summer and end of the year. But there's going to be, it's going to be a big year. Let's put it that way.
Oh,
It's going to be a
definitely,
really big year.
Well, listen, thanks so much for your time. I wish you the best of luck with the album. I'm sure it's going to go down really, really well. And I
Thank
hope
you
to
very
speak to
much,
you
mate.
at.
Cheers for having me on. I appreciate
No,
it.
no, I appreciate you giving me your time for a bit of a chat, and I hope to catch you at one of the gigs in the UK when you get down there sometime soon.
Definitely, man. Hopefully see you at a gig sometime.
Yeah, I hope so.
So drop us a message and we'll sort you out guest lists.
Brilliant, I will do. Yeah. All right, keep in touch then, and I'll give you a shout when this goes live and everything as well.
Perfect, my man. Thank
All
you
right,
very
take care of
much.
yourself then.
Thanks
Nice
for
to
having
speak
me.
to you. Take
See you
care.
later, man.
Bye now. Best of luck.
You feel the fear keeps coming. Why don't you run from everything you should have done?